former MEP, Brexiteer, political commentator. Ben and Pete, interested in, I thought, an underplayed story today. Poor little Annalise Dodds, the International Development Secretary, was shocked recently when she had a meeting with people from the World Bank and officials from the World Bank, and they told her, you know, the foreign aid racket, said it's going to be in a bit of trouble next year. She goes, oh, why is that? You know, all the poor people in the developing countries, we've got to give them... Well, Donald Trump, last year, I should say, America gave $63 billion to foreign countries in foreign aid, developing nations and all of that. Next year, if Donald has his way, that $63 billion will be reduced to nothing. He is going to, at the very least, he is going to drastically reduce what America gives to foreign countries. America first, as he loves to say. Meanwhile, we continue to send £11.6 million abroad. We're sending them 11.6 billion to foreign countries to waste on green claptrap. We also already send abroad something like, I think it's last year we spent £13.9 billion in foreign aid. This year it'll be 14.6 billion. So to add to that, the 11.6 billion we're going to send abroad for green claptrap. We are still sending enormous amounts of money abroad. And I just wish that we had a leader like Donald Trump who would say Britain first. I suppose my question to you first, Ben, is why? You know, all over the Western world, this is typical of Britain, all the European nations, these Western democracies. Why do we have a body politic, the political elites? Why do they ignore the wishes of the people and the needs of the people so they can polish their halos and signal their virtue by sending all of our tax money abroad? Why can't we have someone like Donald Trump who understands what the people want? We want to benefit from our taxes. We want to benefit from the country doing well. What's going to happen in Donald Trump's regime is Americans are already much richer than Europeans. During Donald Trump's regimes, they're going to become vastly more wealthy than us. We're going to become poverty-stricken because our politicians do not listen to the needs and the desires of the people. Why don't they know this is political suicide?
Well, it comes back, I think, to what I said in the earlier segment, that both the Labour Party and the Conservative Party have somehow been hijacked by the narrative that the global prosperity, settling the globe, will somehow benefit the United Kingdom. The Democrats were working under that illusion. All of Europe basically works under that illusion, and certainly the Tories and now the Labour Party work under that illusion. And no nation state in Western civilization really puts its nation state first. They think in these global principles, and net zero is one of these global principles that is economically absolutely devastating for a country like the United Kingdom, which is actually very clean already, and in the pursuit of getting cleaner is economically emasculating itself. But it's worse, as you rightly point out, Kevin. Not only are we damaging ourselves at home, we're exporting capital to pursue these ideological ridiculous projects internationally. So, as you said, 11.6 billion going abroad on climate change policies, 500 million going abroad to help international farmers every year,
and the regular 3.9 billion foreign aid budget. So
14 billion, 14
it's going to be 14.6 next year. So this continues apace, and you know that our politicians, analysts, go, "Oh, this is terrible. He's not going to give any money to foreign countries. I don't want Britain to give any money to foreign countries."
So what we should be doing, and Trump is absolutely right to scale it right back. It's not aid, frankly, that aids the world. What aids the world is trade. And what we've got to do is reduce I mean, Brexit was a vote to reduce trade barriers, in this case, as far as the EU's cartel sets them up. And what we should be doing with third world countries, developing countries, is what China does, which is set aside ideological aims and trade for the benefit of China and the tangential benefit with those with whom they trade.
Yeah.
You know, let's take Pakistan, for example. It's really interesting. We bang the drum about Pakistan. We say it's ideologically not aligned with us, and yet we're giving it $370 million, whatever it is, per annum in aid. Actually, the Chinese are investing billions in Pakistan for their own interests. And so the Pakistanis don't even care about the aid we're giving them. They look to China and they think we're going to align with China. So geopolitically and in terms of economics, China's stealing a march on us because they're not being ideologically pure. Yeah. They're doing what's good for China. And Trump, I hope, will reset the compass.
He's going to, Ben. Let me just move on now and get Pete involved in this one. The other aspect of this political virtue signalling, this crazy halo polishing that these idiots in Westminster pursue, they can't be so stupid that they don't know that millions of Brits go, stop doing this. We don't want you to do it. Why do they defy the wishes of the people? Let's talk about energy. Fracking. Now, one of the reasons America has very cheap energy was because it was Obama, to be fair. It wasn't a Democrat-Republican thing. It was Democrats started fracking. They now have 150 years' worth of cheap energy, shale gas, which, ironically, they're selling to us. We don't frack because we're good people. We don't mind buying it, though. Ridiculous. Apparently, underneath the earth, the ground of Britain, there is potentially £250 billion worth of shale gas. Our politicians won't frack for it for ecological reasons, to appease the eco-nuts and to fall in with that ludicrous idea, well, if we frack, there'll be earthquakes in Blackpool. No, there won't. This insanity. If we fracked and got that shale gas out, we would be our energy bills would be 50 quid a month. Why don't? What's going on, Ben?
We've got masses of gas in the North Sea. Sorry, we've got masses of gas in the North Sea.
For once, me and Ben are exactly on the same page here. We should be prioritising trade and not aid. The reason that we don't do this over energy is, yet again, this has been hijacked by the net zero zealots who think that, you know, all this stuff is just going to destroy the environment and that somehow we should suffer because of our supposed involvement in climate change. That's what I think this is really about. I think this is about making people suffer and choosing between the heating and the eating and all the rest of it that goes with it. I really do believe that that's what these people, they want to punish us, you know, for daring to want more. They think that growth is a bad word, and because of that, they'll do anything in their power to stop it. So they might find some kind of newt or some bat or something, and that's it. No fracking, despite the fact it could make us energy secure for decades.
250 billion quid.
And you know, it could transform the United Kingdom. You know, we've got pensioners now choosing between heating and eating, and with that is a choice because we would rather, you know, send money and in a white saviour complex. I think there is a big aspect to that, saying like, you know, well, these people couldn't do it without us. You know, that arrogance.
It's got a theme tune.
It really does.
Feed the world. It's the Band-Aid syndrome.
The Band-Aid syndrome is probably the best phrase for it. You know, and you know, you look at countries like, say, Nigeria. We continue to think of it as some kind of backwater. Everyone's living in mud. It's got one of the biggest growing economies in the world, and yet we continue to think of it as like, you know, well, we couldn't possibly do it without our help. The arrogance of that is just staggering.
We're going to have to call a halt to this in just a second, but what about recently Ethiopia? So Bob Geldof and, you know, as you say, all the white saviours from the Band-Aid mob. We're re-releasing the single. We're going to give you loads more money. Ethiopia's saying, we're the fastest growing economy in Africa. We don't want your help anymore. We're not starving it, but you will have our help. You know, we're going to give it to you whether you like it it or not. It's pathetic. As you said, also crazy Ed Miliband stopping oil exploration and production, oil and gas in the North Sea. These people are impoverishing us. And I think that they sort of feel, they feel they're morally superior to us, and we must be protected from our baser instincts and our
they hate this country, Kevin. They don't love this country.
Yeah.
They don't care about this country. That's why they trash our history. They trash our national heroes. They hold their heads in shame, and they think there's a penance that the United Kingdom needs to pay. That's the mindset they have.
That's the word, penance. That's the word. They think we have a penance to pay.
That's right.
And, you know, they will make sure that we pay it, and it will be the most vulnerable in our society that will feel the real damage of it.
Absolutely.
And
I loathe all of them.
Yeah.
I loathe all of them.
I tell you what, I think we've all on this we all agree.
We've all agreed on something.
And I tell you what's going to happen. In the next few years. It will be a return. I can remember in the 1960s, you know, when I was a kid and all that, and you would look across to America and go, my God, you know, they've all got 3 cars and have fantastic lives. Look how rich they all are. That kind of has changed over the years. We're going back to that. Under Trump will signal a return to that. Americans are already vastly wealthier than us. They're going to become incredibly richer than Europeans because they have a leader who's sensible, who understands what they need. We have leaders who just want to polish their own halos. It's just infuriating. Ben, great to have you on board.